Hello, friends, and welcome to CareersTalk. My name is Sunand Sharma, an agile consultant based in Netherlands. And you might have seen the thumbnail. Today, we are going to have a real interview with the candidate. Uh, her name is Aparna. She is working for one of the largest service-based companies with 12 years of IT experience, and for the past 3 years, she has been working as a Scrum Master. And now, obviously, she want to switch. So that's the thing. So, friends, if you also want to test your knowledge and actually feel the pressure of a real interview, you can connect with me. We provide both free and a paid option. For paid option, you can schedule a call with the help of our TopMate link. And for free option, you can always email me or connect with me on the LinkedIn. So, friends, before we start, if you are new here, please do subscribe. And if you like the session, please hit that like button. So, without further delay, let's start. So, welcome, Aparna. Why don't you tell me about yourself, Aparna?
Yeah, hi Sunand. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be participating in your stress interview. I have been watching few of your interview, and I think this is the right time for me to participate as a candidate. Okay, to tell my background, I have total 12 years of experience. I have started my career in as a developer, in especially in mainframe technology. Gradually, I moved to team lead role, and where I have to manage different projects with some previous knowledge and some background experience. I have got an opportunity to work as a Scrum Master. So currently, I am working as a Scrum Master with a team that contains 5 developers, one product owner, and they are geographically distributed team. So that's all. That suffice my uh, brief introduction.
Okay. So you mentioned one team, right? Five developers, one PO, and one
Y-
Scrum Master.
Yes.
And you also mentioned about geographical dispersed team.
Yes.
So where are your team members?
So some of my team members, I based in Kolkata location. So some of my team members is working from Pune and Mumbai, and some of the developers are from Kolkata. And there is a one side person that is working in our team, that team lead. He is based on Netherlands.
So five team members. One is in Pune, or let's say
One
six team members
one
in
is in Pune.
PO.
Yeah, one
One
is
is
in
Pune, one is
one is in
Mumbai,
Mumbai. One is
one
in
is
Kolkata,
Kolkata.
and one tech lead is in Netherlands. And I am the Scrum Master. And there is one tester who is working like in from Kolkata location.
It's pretty small team. So this is the maximum. Okay, what's the maximum team size which you have handled in the past? Which you worked with
Uh,
in the past?
in the previous project, I have worked with, there are several vendors involved. So this is a smaller project. So before that, I have worked in several vendors. There, I have separate Scrum team that contains 5 team members and 2 separate vendors from other company, like that is external team. So including 3 teams and along with the stakeholders, I have operated Scrum as a Scrum Master.
So you are working as a Scrum Master for all three teams, right?
No, I would not say all the 3 teams, but I have to facilitate the Scrum Scrum framework throughout the 3 external team. But I have explicit control on my team. That is my internal team.
Okay. Okay. So can you tell me like five top differences uh, in Scrum Guide 2020 comparison to 2017?
So there is one. I will say one part, that is there is a change. There was developers. Scrum team consists of Scrum Master, Product Owner, and developers, and now it is changed to development team. And there,
So
uh,
development team in 2020 and developers in 2017, right?
yes, and like five. Like one or two. I can say, but
That's okay.
not.
Whatever you know, that's okay. What else?
I think there is a change in the product increment part.
What was that?
Uh, it was the product increment and product backlog. Some changes was there, like increment. I clearly not remember, but there was some
When you have
changes
done
in
your PSM2, PSM1,
PSM2. I have done on 2022. end of 2022, and PSM 1 I have done 2019.
Okay, but these are pretty basic thing, Aparna, you should know. Okay. And I'm not sure whether you told about the developer team and developers are also right. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so you mentioned about backlog grooming. What was that backlog grooming thing?
So this is a iterative process and that Scrum team should do. It is like for any kind of backlog, you have to provide some refinement kind of thing. Like if there is any backlog that is the developer is not able to understand, they are sitting with the PO and Scrum Master to get the acceptance criteria clear, or the steps that is required to meet the end user goal that should be clarified by the product owner. What is the actual requirement? So it is like refining the product backlog in a more precise way, so that developer can understand better and work on the technical part to get the value delivered.
And when it happened? Okay, what's the duration of your sprint?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, so when this happened, this grooming?
So I usually, so there is no predefined rule for that. So I usually follow within a sprint. Once or twice the refinement should be done, so that the sprint backlog is ready for the next upcoming 1 or 2 sprint. So it is like all the product backlog should be due qualified before taking it to the next sprint planning, and that can be done by product backlog refinement. So that's the answer.
How long you are with this team, 5 member team?
From September, last year September.
September.
Yeah.
So what, 6 months, 5, 6 months?
Yes.
Okay. And since when this project is running?
So the project started on June 2023. After some issues, there was one Scrum Master. The client had some issues with the Scrum Master. So after that, I got placed in place of the previous Scrum Master. So I joined in September. Actually, the project started on June 2023. I'm
Okay.
telling, last year.
And did you try to find the reason? What was the issue with the Scrum Master with the client? So that you will not repeat the same mistake?
Yes. So the thing was that first the daily Scrum call. The daily Scrum call was not. He was not able to run the daily Scrum call properly, as there was no predefined set of predefined set of questions or criteria to be run through the daily Scrum call. So one is daily Scrum call. Second is as per the client expectation, the sprint review and sprint retro that was not going well properly. So these 2 points I took, and there was some issue in the process as well. So that sprint backlog items, whatever backlogs they were taking, so that time that was not due or qualified, and due to which the sprint goal was not achieved for a couple of sprint. So after that the issue was raised, and the previous Scrum Master was replaced. So 2 or 3 point I can say that was requested by the client.
Daily Scrum scores not happening. The sprint review is not happening properly. Sprint backlog refinement is not happening. Retrospective is not happening. So it means nothing is happening.
So the actually like the project was very new, and that was in the starting phase. So all the process was not properly identified or not properly in place, due to which it was not going on the track.
Okay. So what you have done when you have joined this team? What
Okay.
different thing which you have done so far in last 6 months?
Okay. Okay. So one thing I have done, that is daily Scrum call. So there was separate separate call was going, that was daily stand up. So for daily Scrum call, I only time boxed it to 15 minutes, so that only developer, Scrum Master, and the product owner will join, and then discuss about the daily updates, and case of impediments, they will talk about the impediments. And second is sprint review. I have changed the complete format of the sprint review. So previously it was like the sprint review, the tech lead was giving the review, and no, there was no discussion on the sprint goal, what we did, what were missing, something like that. So I made a streamlined process. So first Scrum Master will give the details of the goal of the sprint for the particular sprint, then what is the statistic for the sprint, is there in case of any burn down, how much stories we have burned, the velocity of the team, everything I have mentioned, and I made a kind of PPT for representing it to the stakeholders. And then developers will provide a demo about what they have done throughout the sprint, and like that I have changed for sprint review. And for sprint retrospective, it was said like only one or two members were vocal during that retrospective. Not all the members were speaking about their opinion. So during that time, I encouraged team members to like talk about their pain areas or any kind of issues they are facing, any kind of suggestion. So like that, I have streamlined sprint review and sprint retrospective process.
You mentioned about sprint goal. So you are
Yes.
now creating sprint goal for your team.
I am not creating sprint goal. I have been scheduling called for sprint planning. So there, all the stakeholders, product owner, and the team members joins, and there I facilitate teams to select the sprint backlog items, and then decide what should be the sprint goal. Like having discussion with all the team members that represent the meeting.
Okay, what's your product goal?
Product goal is the product vision, so that is the ultimate goal that for which
Product
all
goal is the product vision.
uh, e- product goal means for which the
Tell me the example, right? Tell me the example from your current project. What is
okay.
your product goal?
Okay, for our case, I am working in a like I am working in the team that is working in a data analytics project. So in our case, there are separate layers through which the data is traversing, and finally the data will be stored in
Just
the.
tell me the product goal. Just tell me the product goal.
Okay, product goal is putting the data in the data lake. That is the product goal.
Putting data into data link.
Data lake. So there is a data lake. So we have to put the data for certain countries to the data lake, and then business will use the data for the reporting purpose. So that is our product goal, to put the data in the data lake.
So that's your complete project in a way.
Yeah, for a particular source, I'm saying there are several sources. So let's say for UK, there is some amount of data that should be put in the data lake.
That's okay. That's
That is my product goal.
okay. And what was the sprint goal for the current
Okay,
ongoing
so
sprint?
for sprint goal, so I already mentioned there is several layers through which the data is traversing. So let's say first data should traverse from first to second layer after cleaning and all the transformation. So for my current sprint goal, it is like data should traverse from second to third layer without having any issues or without having any data quality, and transforming the data before putting the data into the data lake.
Okay. Okay. What is your current velocity of your team?
It's 50 to 55
What? 50 to 55 what?
story point.
Story point. So per team member close to 10 story points.
Yes.
They are not overburdened?
No, actually, it is actually the work what we are doing. It is similar work, as you can say. We already I have already mentioned. So there are several sources for which the data should be processed. So they have already executed some of similar steps for other sources. Let's say for Brazil, they have already executed the data and put into the final layer. So like that, they have some previous experience and how the data should be dealt. Okay, and so that is and they know what should we do with the data for let's say UK location. So for that they already know the predefined step, and they are like confident to do that, and we are able to meet that velocity and sprint goal, you can say, like 10, 50 story point we are able to meet.
Okay. And what is the story point for you?
Story point, no, I don't get the question. Story point
Okay.
for me means the in the
What is
board you are saying.
one? Okay. What is one story point?
Okay, for
What do you
that,
tell me?
like, okay, for it is like two story point should equal to 8 hours of work.
2 story points, 8 hours of work.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I have taken few notes, whatever you told me. Okay, so I got some idea about your project. Okay, so let's imagine that one of your team members provides some vague updates during your daily Scrum call. So,
Mhm.
how do you address this issue to ensure a clear communication and a transparency? You have already done it, but I want to hear from you.
So when the team member is like any one of the team member is telling some vague means that not proper status update, you are saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I if the stakeholder or the customer or PO is not satisfied with the answer, or he comes with the question, I will ask him to clarify once more or explain in more
Sorry, sorry,
detail.
sorry. Wait. Sorry. Who is not able to understand? Can you repeat?
PO
PO is not
PO
able to
like
understand. Okay.
wake you was like there is two things, right, in the internal call and with the PO and stakeholders. So
Okay. What was this internal call and PO call?
internal call means there is a separate scrum call, daily scrum call, that internal all the developers join and they discuss about their daily work and
Okay.
updates.
Okay. And what was this PO call?
So there is a daily stand up call as well, right, that all the stakeholders, PO, everyone joins to get the status update of the project. That is a broader status update, or you can say all the business level people join. So there
And
I'm
okay, wait. Okay,
mm,
great. So when is happening this daily Scrum? When is happening on this daily stand up? When is happening with PO? When is happening and when Scrum call? When it's happening?
so basically scrum call can happen, whenever the team is facing. So for my case it is happening let's say 11 a.m. In let's say 11 a.m. daily scrum is happening, but there is a daily stand up call that is happening at 2 p.m. Indian standard time. So there all the business stakeholder and PO joins and discuss about the project updates, not the technical level or developer level update.
Hello.
Hello, hello,
Sorry, but I just
am I
missed you. Yeah, I just missed you for last 2 minutes.
okay,
So I
okay,
heard
okay.
last time that 2 p.m.
2
STD.
p.m. daily stand up call
Mm, mm.
is there, where all the business stakeholders, PO, program manager from the client side, and like
And this
all
is
the
happening
developers.
daily basis, right? This is
Yes,
both are having daily
yes,
basis.
yes. So like you are saying, like let's come to the question you asked, that the vague answer status update. So it is in the if it is in the DSM, all the stakeholders are present, I will ask him to come up with the explanation once again. If they are not able to understand, then I'll ask the other team member to explain if there is no such satisfaction from the answer. And
How
if it
come other person will able to explain this?
so they are like one or two member is working with the same issue, right? Like let's say one is working on the data ingestion part, not like other person should know it, right? Like for our case, 1 or 2% involves in the same type of work. So
Okay, so tell me honestly, don't you think that this is a duplicacy of wasting of efforts? You are having two calls, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, same call, same status. Why you are having two calls?
no, for daily scrum call it is in completely internal. If for any kind of issues and
That's what
everything,
I'm
it is
asking. What is internal and what is external? You are wasting your developers' time, right?
no, for any kind of technical issue I can use that call, right, daily scrum call. If there is no issue, developer should not join and discuss. And the daily scrum stand up is mandatory, that everyone joins and knows about the project status and walking through the board, scrum board. They are like where everyone is aware of the progress and status. But daily scrum call is like very internal to our team, that if there is any issue or if there is any update, then only the call will be there. It is kind of scheduled, but if in case required they joins, and if not, the call doesn't happen.
Okay. That's okay. Let's not talk about that. Okay, so what's the solution you propose? Sorry. So you mentioned that you will ask him again,
Yeah,
ask
I'll
him
ask him
again.
to explain in a more detailed way. If not, then anyone who knows the issue or knows the status, I'll ask any other one to explain better.
Okay. So these two approach you will take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's assume that you are going into your sprint planning meeting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, tell me what happened in your sprint planning meeting, and what's the duration, and what exactly you do, what exactly your team members do, what PO will do if PO will join, or PO is not mandatory. Mandatory. Can you tell me about that first? Then we'll go.
Yeah, for our case sprints planning meeting, PO with the issues that we faced previously in the with the previous scrum master, he said that PO sometimes doesn't join due to which the priorities of the business we are sometimes not aware of. So before starting the sprint planning meeting, I used to send a mail to PO about the priority item that we should focus for this current sprint. Once that is done, along with the development team and the development team and our program manager, he is from client side. So we select all the backlog items that to be taken to the next, like in this current sprint planning. So once that is done, we go with the acceptance criteria. We check if all the stories has all the acceptance criteria, and if the stories are ready, then we start our estimation process for the planning. So
So
that
you do your estimation process in sprint planning.
yes, after we select all the stories in the all the stories, and after we select all the sprint, after the sprint goal is locked, like if sprint goal is freezed.
After sprint goal is freezed, logged, you do estimation. Okay, this is what I have written. Okay. So, okay, now how you do estimation?
Fibonacci series.
No, that's okay. Fibonacci series or 1, 2, 3 or 10, 20,
Hmm,
30,
hmm,
that's
hmm,
okay.
hmm, hmm.
But how you do that?
How means
Which
developers.
technique you use? Yeah. So let's say in your backlog, in your product
Hmm,
backlog, you have so many user stories, right?
hmm, hmm. So
And then what?
yeah, so I in a separate call, developers joins, and they take one story from that backlog, and they start estimating based on the previous experience. Like in let's say in this previous sprint they have faced similar kind of issues or similar kind of stories for another sources. So they start with the same kind of story point, and if they think this is something new and this might take some time, so they increase the story point depending on the previous story.
No, no, I'm I'm totally confused. So I just asking simple thing. So let's say now sprint planning started, right?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
What you will do step by step, tell me. This is the first thing as a scrum master I will do. This is the second thing. This is what my team will do, my developers will do, this is my PO will do, and this is the outcome of the sprint planning. This is how a sprint planning is closed.
Okay, so first all this, like based on the PO's recommendation, we will select the we will select the sprint backlog. Let's say there are priorities in two items. So for that
Mhm.
two items, let's say there are five stories selected for this two item. So once that is done, we will check. Developers will check one by one if the story has exact acceptance criteria, or the story is DOR qualified. DOR qualified in the sense a story is ready for to be worked on. So it should have all the details or and all the acceptance criteria assigned to the story. And after that, they will see based on the previous experience of similar kind of stories, if this story is same or some new features or new criteria is added for the story. If that is that, then the story if story point should be increased in case of features added. If this is similar, then based on the previous experience they will assign the story point. and after that is done, we will calculate the total number of story point, that is velocity, and we will try to keep the story point within 50 to 55, and then discuss and agreed with PO and program manager. We will close that sprint planning session.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so tell me about some key agile matrices that you consider important for measuring the team performance.
So first I will say burn down chart. So burn down chart. Second is the velocity chart and team velocity. So for burn down chart, mostly I depend on the burn down chart, because in the Azure DevOps boards it is by default coming. So it shows how much work
So
is.
burn down chart will show the team performance.
It will not show the team performance. It will show the how much work is pending, or how much
So what's the question?
team
Question is
performance.
specific related with team performance, like how you measure your team performance.
Then we have velocity chart.
Velocity you use for measuring team performance. Okay. Okay. What else?
So capacity, velocity. Okay.
Okay, you talk about burn down chart. Okay, leave this question. What are the different matrices which you have used as a Scrum Master in the last 3 years? Forget about the previous question.
Uh, One is velocity chart, velocity, sprint
Mhm.
velocity, that comes with like last 5 or 6 iteration based on your customization. Second is capacity, how much capacity is there for any sprint.
Capacity is a matrix.
Not metrics, but we can have the details. It is not metrics, you can say, yeah.
Then what else?
Uh, so basically burn down chart and
Hmm. And then velocity.
burn down velocity, and there is yeah, like burn down velocity, and that's all I think.
Okay. Okay. So what burn down chart will do? What's the purpose of burn down chart? Why we use burn down chart? What
So
are the Mhm.
yeah, burn down chart tells us how much work is left for that current sprint. So
Work is left or work is done?
work is done is burn up, right?
I'm just checking. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just checking with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Work
how
is
much
done
work
is
is completed, that is burn up chart, and how much work is pending, that is burn down chart.
what is pending is burn down chart. Okay. So what's the correlation between your velocity and burn down chart? Can you explain?
So burn down chart shows us the number of story point that is like burnt based on number of story point. That means the work that is that will be completed in terms of story point. So if the burn down chart shows something like 80% or 90%, that means you have achieved 80 to 90% of your velocity of this particular
So
sprint.
burn down chart will show 80% and 90% of the work done. It will show you 80%, 90%, 10%, 20%.
It will show you the percentage of the work, and you can select based on the how you want to see it, based on user story, based on story points, or based on priority.
No,
So
sorry. So burn down chart will show the percentage of work which we completed.
no, not completed.
Or let's say left or done.
Yes, yes.
Where we
So
can see this percentage, like 20% done, 30% done,
uh,
80% done. Where
like,
this number will come.
okay, like x-axis is the timeline, and y-axis is the work that is need to be done. And before that, there is something like it will show 80% is some like in the Azure DevOps boards, it used to come like 80% is done. Like percentage of completion, it will be showing in that burn down itself.
Okay. X-axis, what is there in X-axis?
X-axis is timeline, iteration timeline or project timeline.
Timeline means what?
Yeah,
Hours, days,
day, day,
sprints,
day, day.
days.
Yeah.
Okay. So day 1 and day 15, like that. or day 10, 2 weeks,
Yeah,
right?
day 0 to day 10. Yeah.
Okay. And in Y, what was there in Y?
Total sum of the work that is estimated, total like work details.
What was that?
That
So what's the unit here? What do you put over there? Is it hours? Is it days? Is it story
that is what
points?
I was telling. So there is an option, you can change based on that. So it can be based on story point as well.
Story points.
Yeah.
Okay. So here you see that 80%, 90% of the work that is done in burn down chart. Okay. So 80% means what? First of all, I'm not getting what is this 80%, but anyway, uh, so burn down chart, this it means velocities like this, right? That's a correlation. Like is they are inversely proportional or they are directly proportional?
They are inversely proportional.
Inversely proportional. Okay. Okay. So you also mentioned about risk in your resume.
Yeah.
Okay. So how you identify any potential risk that will impact the project timeline?
Okay, first of all, so for like not in my current project, in the previous project, there was a separate teams which used to which have separate architecture team for that project. So there are some predefined set of architectural rule that technical team has to follow. Okay, so for our case, it is like once we have completed all the sprint goal and all the sprint planning, they in between the sprint they come up with the set of architecture guideline. So there we have identified that if we try to follow the architecture guideline to all the extent, then it will be a risk for our sprint to deliver all the sprint goal, because there will be certain number of code changes based on the architectural guideline. So that's how we like one such risk we have identified, and we have
Wait. So if your team will follow the complete guideline, that's a risk for the project?
not for a complete guideline. So in the guideline is keeps on changing based on the market standard. So
Okay.
once the sprint planning is done, in between some sprint, they came up with the new guideline, like one more point they have added to the guideline, and they want
Okay.
us to follow the guideline from all the works that we have completed throughout the sprint and the previous sprint as well. So that was a kind of extra work for us to go through the previous work as well. Okay, so for that we have identified, and we have communicated to them that if we follow this guideline and do the same with the previous work, then it will be a tight schedule for our sprint, and that will be a risk that we cannot achieve the
So how
sprint
you
goal.
mitigate this risk? How you Hmm.
So like that you can say I have scheduled a call with developers and the architecture team, and they have agreed and come up with a solution that for the previous work that was not aligned with the architecture guideline, they will take some small portion of the work through each sprint and complete the previous work. So like with the sprint current sprint work, they will take 55% of the previous work, and they will try to complete. So it is kind of, you can say, technical depth. So 5% of technical depth they will do each sprint. That's all.
Okay. Okay. You are aware about release management?
Release management, no. Release management means that deployment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is done, that I know.
Okay. So let's say then during this release management process, critical issue
Mm-hmm.
identify, and that's going to impact the code stability in UAT as well into the production environment.
Mm.
So how do you handle this situation to ensure a stable code delivery?
So let me just reiterate your question. So you want to, like, in between sprint you are saying, like, just can you just repeat your question once
Okay.
about the
So
release?
during this release management process, let's say you are
Mm-hmm.
deploying something,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you just identify some issue, critical issue,
Mhm.
that will going to impact the stability of your UAT environment as well as the production environment.
Hmm.
So what you will do as a scrum master, what will your, how you are going to make sure that your code will be stable?
Okay, first, if developer has identified any issues or identified any defects for that release, I will first inform everyone, whoever is concerned, and then I will talk to the developers what is the measure we should take. And before and I'll make a standard, like we create a deployment checklist kind of thing to maintain all the quality of that release. So if this release is facing issues, we should have some like we should write down some points for and create a deployment checklist if not created earlier, and and take it forward in the next release next release or deployment. And I will try to work with the developers to get the issue fixed if it is necessary, and if it is taking more time, or if it should affect the sprint goal or anything, I will try to communicate, and I will try to inform all the stakeholders that are concerned for this release.
Okay. Okay, you mentioned about vendor engagement, right? In
Yeah.
your resume as well as when we started this session. So
Yes.
when coordinating with any external vendors for IT project
Hmm.
components, let's say you discover that there is a mismatch in the expectation. So how do you resolve this misalignment, and so that there is a smooth collaboration between the vendors?
So this thing happened. So previously, when our company starts engaging with the project, and the vendors were already there in the client side, like the vendors was already working with the client side previously before our engagement. So there, the actual goal of the project or actual requirement that comes from the vendor end. So we used to get. The communication was not proper, that we identified, and after we tried to schedule a call in a frequently, like for twice a day or once a day, and we used to send minutes of meeting for that discussion, so that both the parties or both the team members are aligned to that process. And later, at any point of time, if there is any issue, we come with that written agreement that this is what we discussed, and I think we should follow in this way, something, so something like that. So first is communication with the vendor on daily basis, and second is the minutes of meeting for that requirement, and
Mhm.
then working closely, and that should be agreed. Like whatever we have discussed, that is agreed, that should be communicated via mail, so that later in the point, if there is an issue, we can refer to the mail, and we discuss on that part.
Okay. 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 So let's assume that there is one team, and that team is missing their project deadlines continuously.
Mhm.
So how do you assess and address the reason behind all these delays? Like what strategies will you take? What measures you will take? So these are two questions: how you assess and address the reason behind the delays.
Okay, first I will check what is the velocity of the sprint, and what was the previous sprint velocity. So if I check what are, first I will check what was planned item for the sprint. If this planned item is huge based on the previous sprint, I will try to minimize the planned item or the planned stories, so that they can only focus um, uh, on the actual or dedicated resources. So first I will check if the planned item is very huge as per the resources working on that project. Second, I will check the velocity of the team members. Third, I will check if they are facing any kind of technical issues or any kind of process issue. If there is any technical issue, I will try to engage someone who is expertise in the team, so that they can help the other team members have a smooth execution. And if there is any issue, I will try to identify where exactly the process issue is, So I will first I will check technical issues. As I have already said, I will mitigate by engaging more technical expertise person. If there is any process issue or any understanding issue, I will try to try to look as a part of Scrum Master or as part of Scrum Guide. I will try to look into that part. And thirdly, if there is any issue with the requirement part, or if there is any issue from the client end, like they are not able to provide the, sometimes it happens that requirement is not clear, or the story is not properly aligned with the requirement, and developer is not able to understand. So for that case, I will try to talk to the product owner to get the details of the requirement, and have the user story more precise and developer specific details. So this is the 3 point I will take.
Okay. Okay. Aparna, I think I am good. Okay. I have taken few inputs. So we'll discuss your feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. And in one line, you really have to work hard on lot of things. With these answers, I'm afraid, that you're not going to, yeah. So we'll discuss everything in detail. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay.
So before we close this call, thank you everyone for joining today. Hope you will found this session have helpful, and I'm sure that you will also find. Please comment what you think about this session, which answer you think can be improved, right? So don't forget to leave a comment and like this video to show your support. Your feedback really going to help us to create more valuable content like this. And friends, if you're new here, please subscribe and become a part of our CareersTalk family. See you in our next session. So with this, let me close this session. Okay, and give me a minute.